Reverend Moore, first I want to thank you for your 19 years of service in our country. You've made a great deal today of the 1892 decision in Holy Trinity, and you just stated that you believe that Supreme Court opinions are just that, opinions. So my question for you is, why should we value the historical opinion of someone who also signed on to one of the most reviled cases in Supreme Court history in that year, with 7 of his brethren in Plessy versus Ferguson?
Well, that's the point. We have Dred Scott case. Who respects that today? Plessy versus Ferguson. Who follows that case today? It just so happens the Trinity case is a valid case, and that's my short answer.
While he's coming up, let me just comment again on the Trinity case. That was not a decision that this is a Christian nation. It was just one judge out of hundreds of Supreme Court judges we've had giving the personal opinion, and that's all it was.
Okay, I would ask your opinion on the presentation of the Ten Commandments in state buildings, and whether or not we can really take these particular laws as our moral basis in this country.
Yes, I think if people are free to post the Ten Commandments in public buildings, parks, courthouses. In fact, there are 4,000 estimated now, and the ACLU is going to have their hands full rooting them out and finding them all. One of my complaints about this whole debate that we're having, not tonight, but just the general debate that's going on in our culture, is that many in the ACLU insist that we're not a Christian nation, we have no Christian founding, and then they go out and try to change the laws and remove the symbols and change the whole history. You can't have it both ways. Either way, why don't you just say, we're a Christian nation, it's a bad idea, and we're going to change it and turn it into a secular, godless state, which is what is being attempted, in my opinion.
Chaplain Moore is wearing a sign of on his lapel, and that's great. I think people should be free to put the Ten Commandments in their house, on their lawn, anywhere. But when it comes to a public area, we cannot promote one particular religious view over another. So it's not being anti-religion if we say, put the Ten Commandments anywhere that you like in your personal property, say whatever you want about the Ten Commandments, for or against, but don't bring the government into that particular religious perspective. In fact, the first commandment says, "Thou shalt have no other gods," which conflicts with the First Amendment, where it says we're free to have one, many, or no gods.
Well, my question is simply that many of the faiths, including Hinduism and Buddhism, preach the same things as Christianity and existed, as far as historical records go, hundreds if not thousands of years beforehand. So then my question to you is that, don't you agree with me in saying that not necessarily that these morals are based in Christianity, but are just based in humans, and perhaps maybe in no religion at all, not necessarily that Christianity is the only way of achieving them, since hundreds of other religions also achieve them?
Yeah, I think that if you pretty much take the intersection of all religions, the things they have in common are also the things that atheists and humanists have in common. Treat others like you would want to be treated yourself. Be kind to other people. These sorts of things we need to do, and we've learned to do in order to survive. Maybe 100,000 years ago, there were people who felt like all they should be doing is killing one another. Well, their genes died out, and now I think we know how to best to cope, and that's what we should do. We should not promote one particular religion, but we should promote treating each other kindly. And of the Ten Commandments, 3 of them, don't kill, steal, or commit perjury, are the only 3 that are part of our secular Constitution.
Well, my opinion, if there's no moral laws, there's no God, we have no basis for any moral judgment. He's just made moral judgments, and I don't think there's any basis for it without God and without the Ten Commandments. So I think there's got to be, every society has some moral, religious code as its foundation, and we set this country up based on a Judeo-Christian principle and laws, and people are trying to change it, and I don't like it.
How exactly, in your opinion, does the recognition and establishment of Christian moral values as national law differ from the establishment of religion, which clearly would violate the First Amendment?
Well, I think I agree with the First Amendment. We don't want we want to have a jurisdictional, administrative separation of church and state. We don't want a Baptist government. We don't want a Catholic sponsored government. But I'm perfectly happy with the Judeo-Christian ethics and rules to permeate and flow through our government. And Jesus himself said, salvation is of the Jews. And so Christians and Jews have the common faith in the Old, and of course we have the New Testament, but that's the common faith, and so that's what I'm happy and want to try to maintain.
I just want to say, in addition to being an atheist, I'm also a Jew, and I know the Bible says I'm the chosen one, but I don't believe that. I think we're all chosen equally, or we should be treated equally. So that should give me no priority in this country. It might in Israel, but it should not in this country, nor should I think Christians should have any priority either. I think we should all have the same priorities.
I have a book here. I was going to offer it to Dr. Silverman as a gift if he would take an oath to read it. You have to take an oath.
I will read it.
Okay, all right. It's a free book. We'll have a little light moment here. This is the story of the scientists who were Christians, and many of them were mathematicians, and they based their scientific theories on what they found in the Bible and Revelation. This is an incredible book by James Nichol. Mathematics, is God silent? So I'm giving this to you as a gift, but you have to make an oath that you'll read it.
Well, I'll go by the Constitution. Thank you. Where the Constitution says we can make an oath or affirmation. I choose an affirmation. And I do wonder if any of this mathematics or science is in any refereed math journals.
These were famous men like Kepler, Faraday. They were the great inventors, Isaac Newton, so you can be the judge of whether they were good scientists or not.
Well, I do know that evolution is controversial, but it's only controversial among politicians and religious people, not among scientists. The theory of evolution has at least as much established as the theory of gravity. Only since gravity seems not to contradict the Bible, people are more willing to accept that. And this is an instance, I think, where those who are fundamentalists are willing to say what maybe do you believe the earth is 6,000 years old?
Well, I've got a question for you. Do you practice evolutionary math, randomness, and chance, or do you have believe there's a scientist?
Well, first of all, evolution is natural selection, and it's not random. If mutations survive better than others, and that's why we've reached the stage we have today.